In 1 hour at 11 p.m. at 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be doing my first ever battle. I've never done a battle. This is going to be my first time. I'm not 100% sure how it goes, but yeah, the battle is happening at 11 a.m. It was 10 a.m. It got pushed back to 11 a.m. I'm going to be doing it versus Michaela. The topic is I'm going to be arguing in favor of pineapple on pizza. She's going to be arguing against pineapple on pizza, and 100% of the money that we raise will be donated to our respective families in Palestine. We're both part of Operation Pass the Hat. We're both trying to raise money for families in Palestine to escape safely. So yeah, at 11 we're going to do a 1 hour battle, and 100% of what we make will be donated, and I will be matching up to $100. All right. Let's get this started, guys. Tap that screen and share the live, guys. Tap and share. We got 6 shares. Let's get it up to 100. Thank you for the hand heart. Thank you so much. Pineapple on pizza is a blast for you? All right. It is for me, too.
Yo, what's up, bro? You say you're not lesbian?
How old are you, please?
What?
How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. What year were you born?
96.
96, 25. All right. Am I a lesbian? Nah, your math doesn't add up. I didn't think it did. Yeah. I rely too heavily on my little chart. Hello, Cam. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. How old are you, please?
I'm 23.
23. Fantastic. And am I a lesbian?
Okay, I was on here yesterday, and there was a girl who was saying that, like, your sexuality, I guess, is based off of your sex. So she was saying that lesbians prefer females, and you were saying no because some females are men.
Right.
So
There's a clicking sound coming from your end.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
So I was thinking, because you kind of got in a confusion too, and like y'all couldn't come up with an answer. So if someone's lesbian, does that mean that they are preferring biological women parts?
Are you clicking a pen or something?
I'm breastfeeding. I'm pumping right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Never mind. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
So, well, does that mean that they are preferring biological women parts?
If someone is, I don't have an issue with general preference. I think general preference is valid.
So y'all were trying to figure out what a lesbian would be.
Right. I would say that it's someone who isn't a man who's attracted to someone who isn't a man. I think that definition could be worded better, because it does put the focus on men in a sexuality that is not about men.
So this is where I was confused yesterday. If there is a cisgender woman that considers herself a lesbian, and I can't remember how it was. Okay, if she is lesbian and she's dating a woman, but let's say it's a transgender woman, so there's a biological male part down there.
We can use.
Would you still consider that a lesbian?
Yeah, absolutely, because that's a woman attracted to a woman.
So you don't think a lesbian is that someone is attracted to female parts?
Not automatically. There are definitely lesbians that don't have genital preference. I do think that genital preference is valid, but it doesn't determine what your sexuality is.
So you don't think that would make someone pansexual?
No.
That would just make them a lesbian.
Yeah, they would, because that would be a woman attracted to a woman.
But, okay. I don't know. I guess that just confuses me. I don't remember exactly what was going on yesterday, but that was my point. I wish I could remember what was said exactly.
Yeah, I barely remember what was said 5 minutes ago, let alone. No. Okay, so my question to you would be: are transgender women women?
Yeah.
So I think that we would typically say that when a woman is exclusively attracted to other women, she's a lesbian. No.
But what was going on yesterday is she was saying is like your sexuality based off of sex, or is it based off of gender?
I think there's likely a mix there. I mean, I think that part of it can be based on sex, and part of it can be based on gender too. Because there's physical attraction for sure. Physical attraction is definitely a thing, but there's also romantic attraction.
Okay. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I was just trying to go off of what was said yesterday because it was like a big topic. You talked with her for a while. So I guess I just figured that you would remember it, but I guess not.
Unfortunately, no.
It's okay. I was waiting.
Okay.
Okay, it's okay, baby. I was just waiting for a while, so.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes.
It's okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, you have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye. That was adorable. All right. Guys, keep tapping that screen, share the live, and don't forget we're doing our first ever battle to raise money for families in Palestine in 53 minutes. I will be matching up to $100. 100% of the money that is made during this battle will be donated to families in Palestine. Hello, Hannah. How you doing? Hannah? No, Hannah. Who am I battling? I'm battling Michaela.
Hey, Adora.
How's it going?
Same old, same old.
Hello?
Hello, Mario.
Hi.
How old are you, please?
21.
21. And what year were you born?
2002.
21, 2002. Fantastic. Am I a lesbian?
No, because, like, you'd fall under the definition of heterosexual. Like, seeing as you're attracted to the opposite sex.
Yeah, I don't think that that sexuality is just based on sexual attraction. I think it's also gender.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Like, everything leads towards sex. Like, it's called sexuality. And, like, a lesbian couple is called a same-sex relationship. Like, we don't call it a same-gender relationship. Like, everything leads towards sexuality. And, like, homosexual. Like, everything has to do with sex.
Can an intersex person be straight?
Yep.
So a straight intersex person would only be attracted to non-intersex people.
No, because an intersex is still either male or female.
Not all. So there is true intersex.
Like what's one of those conditions called? Just so like I can search it up.
I don't know. Just
True intersex.
okay. There we go.
Or sensitivity disorder, or DID. Not DID. Shit. I can't think of the actual broader term. True gonadal intersex is the condition.
Why are people making fun of my accent?
Yeah, let's not make fun of how people talk, guys.
Yeah, sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, okay. Let me rephrase the question. Is it possible for someone who is male to be attracted to an intersex person who is pure intersex, meaning equal parts male and female? And would that make them straight? Would that make them gay? What would it make them?
But I would still disagree that there aren't true intersex. Like you're still one or the other. It depends which gametes you have. Like if you have large or small gametes.
They actually have both gametes.
Yeah.
Both, yeah, but your body's constructed around one or the other.
So true gonadal intersex technically is a female condition, but they have male gametes and female gametes.
Additionally, not all intersex.
What's a female condition?
Like call themselves either intersex male or intersex female. Some are just intersex.
Great. So Brittany, she just said that they're either
or, Adora.
either or, but you just said that it's a female condition, so that would be female.
Yeah, true gonadal intersex has characteristics of both, but the sex-wise is either female or male.
Yeah, no, but you just said it affects females only. Like it's a female intersex condition. Like I know that there's intersex conditions and they're like either towards like males or females. Like Swyer syndrome is for females.
Swyer syndrome
for males.
Okay.
But regardless, like do you think there's like a difference between like homosexual and gay, like those two words?
And not that I'm aware of. Is there?
No. So like
I don't know of.
No, I was just wondering. So, like in the wild, like, do you think gay animals exist?
Sure. Yep.
And like, what do we judge like them being gay off of?
As animals don't have gender, it's based on their sex. But we are not them. We are human beings where we have gender and sex.
Right, but we have like consistent definitions though. So like, we can't say there's gay animals exist and then say like human gay animals exist.
But you also can't discount the fact that humans have gender, and that plays into this. Would you say that a straight cisgender woman would want to date a transgender woman?
No, because everyone has preferences. Like they'd still be, they're still a male. They wouldn't be. I don't think that would be their type.
I don't think people are too concerned about chromosomes when they.
No, but the sexual characteristics. I didn't really say chromosomes, like the other sexual characteristics.
What other sexual
The visible ones.
characteristics?
The visible ones, the ones down below.
Yeah, we don't know. Without looking or asking, we don't know what a transgender person has for genitalia.
Yeah, but I don't think they actually get into a relationship with them without knowing that.
Sure, if you have gender preference, by all means, ask, or you're likely to find out at one point anyways. I believe that gender preference is valid. But again, would you say that it is typical for a straight cisgender woman to be attracted to transgender women?
No.
No, because and that's not based on. That's because that would be a gay relationship. That would not be a straight relationship.
No, that just wouldn't be they wouldn't be their preference. Like if they were in a relationship, I'd still consider that a straight relationship.
Would you say that a cisgender straight woman would be attracted to transgender women that have penises?
That have like had surgery that has made something that mimics that.
Transgender women are typically born with penises.
Oh, right. Yeah, wait, so can you say that again from the start?
Yeah. Would you say that a cisgender straight woman would typically be attracted to a transgender woman who still has a penis?
I don't know. It depends, maybe. Like, depends what the person prefers. Like, if they prefer, I don't know, if they prefer like a tall person or like a more masculine or feminine person, like, it all depends. Like, at the end of the day, we still have all our own preferences. But it just, them being in a relationship would be considered a straight relationship.
Just because they're trans is problematic.
But it would still be considered a heterosexual relationship because it's the opposite sexes dating each other.
So then yes, you think that cisgender women should be attracted to transgender women.
It's not that it should be. It's just that maybe some people prefer that. But if they were in a relationship, it would
typically don't want to date other women. Cisgender straight women typically don't want to date other women.
But they're not. Okay, well, you consider them women. I don't. But regardless, there would still be males. So if they were, if they were in a relationship, it would still be considered a heterosexual relationship.
Whatever you just said, it's not relevant because we just uncovered the problem. The problem is you don't see trans women as women.
No, it's not.
Why?
I just told you I base it off of sex, not gender. So that doesn't matter anyway. Because I told you, I gave you. It's called sexuality. It's called same-sex relationships. It's called homosexual, heterosexual. Everything links towards sex. Everything links towards sex. Have you ever heard of someone say a same-gendered relationship? I don't hear that.
Yes,
or a same-sex. Or let's legalize same-sex marriage. It's sex. It's not same-gendered marriage, right?
Who cares what word we're using? It's not really relevant.
I'm just saying everything results back to sex.
We want to go back to why you think trans women aren't women.
Yeah, we're not glossing over
that's
that.
irrelevant because I told you
it's
that.
Not.
It is because I said that I determine it by sex, not gender.
Mario, I'm not letting you off the hook here.
I'm gonna hook you for that. Come on.
You're gonna hook me for that.
Yeah.
Come on.
I want to know, why do you think that trans women are not women?
Okay, so do you want to admit that you're changing the whole topic?
You're the one who made
And
the
you
point.
can see to the point? Because I'm not basing it off of gender. I said like multiple times, I'm basing it off of sex. So if you want to change the topic...
You think that transgender women are men?
Yes.
But then you would say that it is typical for a cisgender man to be attracted to transgender men.
No, I'm saying if they were in a relationship, then it would be considered a heterosexual relationship. But it doesn't mean they'll be attracted to them. We're not attracted to every single male or female. Like,
sure,
we
right.
still have
You would say that it is typical for a cisgender man to be attracted to some transgender men.
Yeah, it can happen.
So you're being disingenuous here. I mean, you're saying that straight men would want to date other men, and that straight women would want to date other women. So this is why we have to have the conversation about whether or not trans women are women, because your point otherwise makes no sense.
Well, I'm saying, but then if we say the other way around, like, oh, do you think straight males would want to date females? Like, the answer would be yes. Or if you say, would straight males want to date other males? Like, the answer would be no.
I think the biggest problem is sex and gender are different. Do you think?
Yeah, you can say that. I don't think that, but I'm not speaking about gender anyway.
I think this is the topic that we have to get on because you made a comment that trans women are women.
Right. I don't think we're going to get anywhere in this conversation if we don't go through that conversation.
Okay, well, I just think that part's irrelevant for us right now, but yeah, I don't think they're women. Like, if you want me to hear it, because they're not females. Like, I think to be a woman, you have to be a female.
And what aspect of being female do you need?
Like, to be a female, like, you can't. We can agree that you can't change your sex. So
you can change aspects of your sex. Yes.
You can change the phenotypical aspects, but you can't actually change your sex.
You can't change your phenotype.
That's.
So your argument then is that we're not women because of our chromosomes.
No, because of your sex.
Because
you're not a female. Like, I think we can all agree that trans women are males and trans men are females.
Genotypically, we are typically male.
What characteristics make up sex? I just wonder.
Well, you have like your private part, and then you have like your gonads, and then you have like your chromosomes, and then there's like a few more.
Neurological sex. Gametes, gonads, neurological sex.
Wait, you're saying neurological sex is part of your sex characteristics?
Yes.
So would you call every trans woman intersex or trans man intersex?
Nope.
Nope.
But then they'd have like the opposite sex characteristic.
Your primary and
is-
secondary characteristics are in the first trimester. The neurological sex is in the second semester of utero.
But are you including your neurological sex as your primary sex characteristic?
Nope. It's a separate
No,
characteristic.
well, then it's not a deterministic factor of sex then.
Yes, it is.
But it's not. Your secondary sex characteristics aren't deterministic of your sex.
Your brain determines what the SRY gene activates, and the brain determines what if you have a phallus or a vagine.
Wait, but if you said it's not a deterministic characteristic, how can you say your neurological sex?
It's linked. It's linked. It's a determined factor. But
You're
it's
saying
linked from sex and gender. That's the only thing that's linked from sex and gender. Is the neurological typical sex.
Right, so it's not actually deterministic. You're saying it helps.
Nope, it is a deterministic factor.
Wait, but it can't be because
It can be. Go research it.
no, because it's not a primary sex characteristic.
Primary sexual characteristics is different than neurological sex. It's developed differently in the utero.
Okay, so you're differentiating neurological sex and actual sex.
It's part of one of the characteristics of sex.
Okay, so how would you determine someone's sex?
5 characteristics: primary, secondary, gonads, gametes, and neurological sex.
Right, so then if a trans woman has the neurological sex of a female, why aren't you calling them intersex?
Because intersex is a condition where it is a variation of primary and secondary characteristics.
Yeah, so like if you have both male and female sex characteristics.
I gotta be straight with you. I trans people aren't intersex, and I don't care what the reasoning is. I don't. We're not intersex.
Okay, well, I'm just saying because Bricknesia isn't like they are like saying that your neurological sex is a sex characteristic, a
I
deterministic
don't think
sex.
it's relevant to the conversation.
Wait, but okay.
Can you tell me why it would be? Why would it be relevant if
I'm not saying it is. Bricknesia is the one saying it is.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on from that point, all right?
All right.
Okay, so why are you claiming that transgender women are men?
Because I already said this because of their sex, and that's why we got into that other conversation. But because
So,
I
specific aspect of our sex or aspects of our sex.
not anyone in particular, just like as a result, if you're either male or female, that's just there's not like it's not like oh if you just have XX chromosomes that's the factor. No, it's just what sex you actually are.
What is one determination factor that it doesn't exclude everybody, that excludes one person? If it excludes one person, it's not a deterministic factor that makes up sex.
That makes up sex. That's just not a.
One determination factor.
But that's not a possible. That's just not possible.
Neurological.
I can tell. But we just moved on from that aspect because you said that doesn't determine your sex though. And I just proved it because you're saying that trans women aren't intersex.
Okay, right. I don't care. A trans person can be intersex. A trans person can not be intersex. It doesn't matter if we are or aren't. We are still what we identify as. My argument would be that gender is that gender is psychosocial, not related to our biology.
Okay, so psychosocial. So you're saying that if someone's attracted, okay. So how would you consider? Why do you consider yourself a woman?
because I have the qualities traditionally associated with being
Okay, and what are some of those qualities?
the innate sense of self of a woman.
Right. So you're saying if a lesbian is attracted to someone with the innate sense of self of a
We're
woman,
off of that guy. We're trying to determine why you don't view trans women as women.
but we can't be off of that because that's you. You were saying that lesbians are women attracted to women, and if you're saying a woman is anyone with the internal
Mario,
sense of
if you don't have
self,
the ability to engage in the conversation, we can move on to the next guest.
what? I'm literally engaging.
Right. I've said several times that in order to address this, we first have to figure out why you don't view trans women as women.
Yes, and I've said it, and I just asked you, and you said it's because you have the internal sense of self of a woman. Is that correct?
Right. I have the qualities traditionally associated with being a female, and I would say that the one trait that all women have is that innate sense of self.
Right, but like, can you explain that innate sense of self?
No.
No. So then how do we know if our innate sense of self is that of a female or that of a male? If we can't, like,
What's your favorite color?
I don't know, like, blue.
Prove it.
Prove it. Well, we can all understand what the color blue looks like. We understand what the color blue is associated
Prove to me
with,
that blue is your
associated with the sky and with the sea.
Sure. Prove to me that blue is your favorite color.
I can't prove. I'm not saying I'm the color blue though. That's the difference. You're
I'm
saying
not
you're a
saying
woman.
color blue either. I'm asking you what your favorite color is.
No, but you're saying you're a woman though.
Right. And I'm making the point that there are some things that can be true that we can't prove. I cannot prove to you that my innate sense of self is a woman. I can be consistent about these statements that I make about myself, but I cannot prove to you what is internal to me.
Yeah, but as I said, if we can't prove that, and there's no like explanation of what these separate innate sense of selves are, how do we know that that's the right one for us? Like, how do I know? Like, if there's no understanding of what the innate sense of self of a man is, how do we know if someone's meant to identify as a man?
Nobody else is going to know that except for you.
But then how are we meant to know which one to identify as if there's no explanation of each one?
It's knowledge that you have of yourself.
But then, so how did you come up with that knowledge? Like, how did you? Why do you think your innate sense of self? Why do you think your innate sense of self is that of a woman and not a man?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know the science behind it.
Right, and that's like the issue that I have because there's just
what's the science behind your favorite color being blue?
there's no science. That's just what I like.
It just
We
is.
can't choose what we like.
Color. You can't.
Adora, it goes back to the neurology. Is the science. But I don't want
Science, but like you've decided what you are before looking at the science. Like you're
No,
saying, so it's not really relevant because you're like you would have said that. Oh, from a young age, I knew that I was a girl, but you didn't know the science before then. So
from a young age, I knew that I was a girl.
yeah, great. So we don't need to talk about the science when you already knew this without the science. So I'm trying to get that understanding.
Right. We don't need a deep understanding of the science and the philosophy of gender to know who we are.
Yeah, great.
So I knew that I was a woman. I
Yes,
have
but
the
like-
innate sense of self of a woman, and I do not have the ability to prove that.
Yeah, and that's the issue. Because how do you know it's not of a man? Like, what there has to be some difference there.
Well, I know that it's not that of a man because I am me.
But there needs to be a difference in order you to say it's your internal sense of self is a woman and not a man. Like, if you don't know what the difference is, how can you determine that?
It's something I can express it. I can be consistent, persistent, and insistent, and that's about it. I cannot prove it beyond that. It is a truth that I know about me. I don't know how you're not seeing the connection between proving your favorite color, which you can't do. I cannot prove my innate sense of self for the same reason.
Because I'm not saying I identify as my favorite
Right,
color. I'm
that's
saying
never made that
that's just a
claim.
preference, right?
But you do have a favorite color.
It's just a false, like they're not equivalent to each other.
I'm trying to explain to you that you can know things and about yourself and not be able to prove those things.
But how? But the thing is, we can understand. I can understand. Like, if we go off that, I can understand why my favorite color is blue because I can see what it actually is, and we can all see and understand the difference from other colors.
I'm a woman because I have the identity of one.
No, but we can all see. We can see the difference of blue, and we can relate it to other colors like red and yellow. But with what you're saying, you're a woman, you can't actually tell me the differences between each of the other genders. So how do you know specifically that your internal sense of self is a woman?
We're not going to get anywhere here, are we?
No. I'm going neurology. I don't think we're getting anywhere.
If you want to try neurology, you're welcome to go for it, Bricknisha.
So neurology is in utero. Actually, it starts before utero when the SRY in the 8th week of pregnancy happens. The SRY activates. In the first trimester is the first critical period of sexually dimorphism. Sexually dimorphism is the equipotential to do either male or female. In the first trimester, your phallus comes from your clit. Your two primary and secondary primary sexual characteristics are happening. Separate from that, in the second trimester, when separate from it, a small of testosterone gets submitted from the testes all the way up to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is in the midbrain. The midbrain controls your innate sense of self and all your autonomic autoimmune nervous system. That's circadian rhythm, sleep, eat, feeding, hunger, when your heart beats, because you don't think about your heartbeat, it just happens. And the hypothalamus, in the hypothalamus, there's 6 nuclei. Nuclei is a bundle of nerves. One of those bundles is called the BNST. I'm not going to confuse you with the long name because it's long. And then there's another part, what's called the INAH. The intercostal nucleus, anterior third hypothalamus, something like that, INAH 3. And that controls your gender. In the hypothalamus, in the BNST, when testosterone is released, it binds to aromatase, which is an enzyme. The enzyme actually turns into estrogen, which masculizes your brain. So if you don't have testosterone or you don't have aromatase in that equation, your brain goes female oriented. And there's multiple parts of the brain that are sexually dimorphic. But this is where main genders form. I can name some of them. Amygdala, white matter. There's a few of them. But if a transgender female, what happens is primary sexual characteristics form the equipotential for male, but the brain, there's no testosterone or aromatase. So you get a female brain. That's how the equipotential of somebody who's trans female is formed. That's the easy version.
Did that help at all, Mario?
Wait, yeah. Yeah, that's great, but I probably have to hear that like 2 more times, but like we'll skip that.
Yeah,
but,
kind of like, yeah.
It's long, it's very complex. Biology is very messy. It's not just one or the other. Biology is extremely messy.
Yeah, I understand that. That's fine. But like, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was going to say like, it's still not that relevant because I wanted to get the understanding of like how you guys like know that like you are a woman or a man or not.
Same way as cisgender people. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it. Cisgender
Yeah, I know, but
their gender identity develops the same way ours does, just theirs develops congruently with their sex and ours develops incongruently. Otherwise, it develops the same.
One's conscious and one's unconscious. A cis person's brain is conscious or unconscious, unconscious because it knows it's different and the messages in the limbic system for a trans knows something is up and different. So it's more a conscious thought.
yeah, I'm not saying those feelings are irrelevant. I'm just saying what I judge gender off is like off of your sex. That's what I judge it off. And if like I can't get an explanation of like this internal sense of self you're describing, I think we're not really going to get anywhere.
Okay, so can I get what is define sex for me?
Sex, well, I don't know how to define sex. I know it's either male or female. I'm not sure how I would define it.
Yeah. Would you say that? How about this definition? This is per Oxford. Either the two main categories, male and female, into which humans and most other living things are divided on the basis of their reproductive functions. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I would agree. That sounds fair to me. The definition of gender that I like is the male sex or the female sex, especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones, or one of a range of other identities that do not correspond with established ideas of male and female. That's also per Oxford.
Yeah, I understand that part, but with that definition, like it's still, you still need to be either male or female, like it says at the top, and then it can also refer to those other social
cultural differences between male and female rather than the biological ones.
Yeah, it can refer to those things after, but you still need to be. It still either refers to male or female, and then we can use it for things like when like people tell you, oh, be a woman or be a man, then it can be used for those things. But to actually determine the gender, like it still requires the sex.
It also mentions other identities that do not correspond to established ideas of male and female. Like it takes into account the entire range of gender identities because there's not just two genders.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that either. Like,
So-
what other gender would you say there is?
There's hundreds and hundreds.
Hundreds, like, yeah.
Non-binary.
But
Yeah.
but like this is the thing. Like, how would they know they're that gender if we don't have an explanation of what they are?
They know about themselves. We can know something's true about ourselves before we fully understand it.
Yeah, but we can't. Like, how are we meant to apply that to the correct gender if there's no explanation to that gender?
Do we need
Like,
to have
there needs to be something. There needs to be something that told you that you're
Right,
a woman
yes.
and nothing else.
Sure, my hypothalamus told me.
No, but before you
Do we
knew the
need to-
hypothalamus, because you
Sorry?
didn't always know that. You didn't always know about the hypothalamus. So before
Sure,
that,
but my
you would have known
hypothalamus
something.
existed, whether I knew it existed or not.
Yeah, but you would have known. What were those feelings like? What were those
It was
experiences?
simply a truth that I knew about myself. I knew I was a girl.
Yeah, but like you knew it, but that doesn't mean anything though. Like if someone who doesn't speak English and you just told them, oh, I knew I was a girl, and then how would you explain girl to them? Like how would you like?
Do you need to have a deep understanding of gender philosophy in order to know your own gender?
Yes, because if there's no meaning attached to those
a
genders,
child can know their gender without understanding the gender philosophy.
oh well, I'm not really going into the philosophy. I'm only doing it because like of what you believe gender is. I don't believe like it is those things.
So, right, a kid can know their gender without knowing any of this stuff we're talking about.
A kid
Right,
knows
but-
gender from the age of articulation is 2 to 7 years old, with the average of 3 being gender.
Right, but I would say that I knew it because of my sex and that thing.
So you know what your thing was at 3 years old?
Yeah, I knew what my body looked like. Plus, everyone around you also tells you that like you're a
Mario.
boy, so that would help you understand.
Sometimes males are born without penises. and they can still develop a gender identity regardless of their genitalia.
A gender identity of what?
Of whatever, of any gender. Same thing for intersex people that have both genitalia. They can also develop a gender identity in a typical fashion.
Right, but again, like, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If we don't have explanations of what each of those gender identities are, how are we meant to know they apply to that specific gender? So you're like, how do you know that your gender identity is that of a woman and not a man? Like, there needs to be something different about it.
What would you say a condition, a necessary condition that applies to all women is?
Being a adult human female.
So that again is leaving out intersex people.
No, it's not, because as I said, like, they're still either male or female.
Not all.
Am I allowed to get into definition, Gritty?
Look, I think I'll leave it. I think we're just going to keep
stuff, even though I just brought it up.
I think we can just agree to disagree, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere.
I will agree to end the conversation, but I do not agree to disagree. Trans identities are valid.
Okay, I was only saying that to be nice. Like, I completely don't agree with you, but...
Okay, you have a good one.
All right.
All right. Thank you for the gifts, everyone. Appreciate you. We have 18 more minutes until we do my first ever battle, guys. It's going to be between Michaela and I. Michaela and I are both part of the, I think, what's it called? Operation Pass the Hat or something like that. I know it's Pass the Hat. I don't know what word comes in front of it, but we both have separate Palestinian families that we're fundraising for. So Michaela and I are going to battle for an hour, and 100% of the money that we raise is going to be donated to our respective families. I will be matching up to $100 to donate to mine. That'll be happening in 18 minutes.
Oh,
Hello, Jem. How you doing?
hi there. Sorry, it's just turning off my fan. First off, I feel like such an idiot. I went away. I've listened to people. I've thought through my thoughts, and of course, you're a lesbian. If
All right, that's
you're a woman who is romantically attracted to women, so you're a lesbian. And
All right,
I can't
awesome.
believe I complicated it so much. And it's
all-
really confronting. I obviously had, and I didn't think I did, I obviously had some sort of transphobia around genitals and passing, and I'm going to really try and work on that, because that was really confronting. I really thought, I hope you realised when you listened to me the other day, I do really want to be a good ally and listen and learn. And yeah, I that's all I really popped on to say. I wanted to thank
That's awesome. That makes me so
you
happy.
and
I'm glad about
Kira,
you.
you, Kira, and I'm afraid I don't remember the other person's name, for just giving me the grace and the patience.
Of course,
And,
always. I'm always willing to give grace and patience to people that are willing to learn.
So yeah, I think I've got somewhere to go, but I hope I'm on the right path, and I will continue listening and hopefully continue learning.
All right, you have a good one, Jem.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See, guys, that is what happens when we give people space to learn. Love it. Love to see it. WGem in chat, guys. WGem in chat. Oh, are we still sub only? We are.
Yeah, we are.
I'll be watching the comments closely, guys. Be polite. You can disagree all you want. I don't care. Be polite. Hello. How you doing?
Hiya.
How old are you, please?
18.
18. Fantastic. What year were you born?
2005.
2005. Okay. And am I a lesbian?
I would say no, because I think there are like lesbians like females, and I'd say you're like not a female.
Okay, all right. We can work with this.
Sorry, I get so awkward on camera.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay, so transgender men exist. Transgender men are men. Transgender men are typically female. Would you say that it is typical for a cisgender straight woman to be attracted to a transgender man?
I would say that I think cisgender is so stupid. Like the word cis. I'm so sorry. I know that's not the point of the conversation, but I think it's such a silly word. Like, do you know? I don't want to sound horrible though, to be honest. I just think it's such a stupid word. The word cis. Like, I'm not a cis woman. I'm a woman.
You know, cis has been used in sciences since the beginning of time. There's cis covalent bonds, cis trans and trans alps, cis and trans Atlantic flights. There's different cis and trans.
No, I'm saying it's a stupid. It's just a stupid word. Like, I'm not a cis woman, and a man is a cis man. Pardon?
If you're not cis, you're trans.
No, I'm not trans. I'm a woman. I was born a girl, and I'm just a girl. Full stop.
Can you tell me what cisgender means?
I love you. Oh, hold on. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
No problem.
Sorry, so sorry about that, Mike. Sorry. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
Sure. What does cisgender mean? Thank you.
When you're like biologically a girl, is it?
Not quite. It means that your sex assigned at birth and your gender identity align.
Gender and sex is the same thing.
They're not. Sex is related to reproductive functions, and gender is psychosocial.
Hold on. I think that if you're born a male, you're a male. I just think I don't know if that's transphobic. Maybe it is. Forgive me if it is. But I feel like if you're born a male, you're a male. Like, you've just got to put up with it.
If you're born male, you're a male. But that's if we're talking about biological sex, that relates to reproductive functions. Gender is psychosocial, meaning it's partially social, how we present ourselves to the world, statements that we make about ourselves, etc. And it is partially up here.
Right. None
of it's down between our legs.
Well, I disagree. I would disagree. I think that if you have...
It's actually wrong.
I think that if you have a penis, you're a male. And if you don't, then you're a girl. There's no in between.
It's typical of a male to have a penis because, again, that would be talking about biological sex. Biological sex talks about your reproductive functions. A penis is a reproductive organ. So, yeah, it is typical of a male to have a penis. But again, we're not talking about biological sex. We're talking about, biological sex and gender are different because gender talks about our psychology and our sociology.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, right? But I don't think you can be a lesbian because you're not a woman. I'm not trying to sound horrible, right? And please forgive me if this like sounds horrible, but I think you cannot grow your hair out, put on a girly voice, put some plastic in your chest, and call yourself a woman. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. We're in agreement.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
How what?
I don't think growing your hair out makes you a woman.
I don't see you. I'm so sorry, but I don't see you as a woman. I don't. I'll always think of them as a transgender person, not even a transgender woman.
Not even a trans woman, then that's a first. So what gender am I?
A male. You are a male. Okay. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
So this is why things get a little bit complicated when it comes to using the terms male and female, because they're used in multiple ways. If we're talking about biology, they're used to reference our reproductive functions. But male and female are also used socially. They're also used in reference to gender. So it sounds to me like you are using the terms male and female in place of man and woman. It sounds to me like you're using them to refer to gender.
But I just think, right? Okay, guys, sorry for apologizing. Jesus. I don't know. I just don't see you as a lesbian, and that's the topic of conversation. Okay, but I don't see you as a lesbian. I think that if you get with a woman, then you're straight because you're a male.
So then you are saying that it would be typical for a straight cisgender woman to be attracted to transgender men.
Huh? Sorry, my mind went completely blank then. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. You are saying that it would be typical for a straight cisgender man. What just happened? Okay, I'm frozen. All right. Yeah, you are saying that it would be typical for a straight cisgender man to be attracted to a. Fuck. Where was I going? I lost my train of thought.
The trans male.
What?
Yeah, you are saying that it would be typical for a straight cisgender man to be attracted to a transgender man.
I'm so sorry. I'm not understanding the question. Do you mean
Okay.
it's normal for?
So you're. I got myself mixed up. I'm sorry. I definitely got myself mixed up. So your argument is that sexuality is purely based on sexual attraction.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Based on a person's sex.
Yeah.
So a straight person is a female that's attracted to males, right?
Yeah, I just think that like if you're born a male,
Sure.
then
So what you're saying then is that a cisgender straight woman would be attracted to transgender women because transgender women are male.
oh my god, I don't know if I'm just confusing myself or if like you guys are confusing me because you like.
I definitely confused the fuck out of myself, and I'm not surprised that everyone.
I just don't think I've come back from the confusion. I think that I just. Oh my gosh! Wait, I'm so sorry to say this again, but can you please repeat the bloody question?
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Right.
So it's your argument that sexuality, like if you're straight, that means that you are a female that's attracted to males. Am I right?
Yeah.
And your statement is that transgender women are male. We're not women. We're male.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would mean that a straight woman. Well, let's take the word cisgender out of it.
All right.
A straight woman would be attracted to transgender women.
Well, yeah, I guess. I think, no, right, okay, I'm like, I don't want to sound like I'm backtracking, but I think if you, Adora, I think if you got with a girl now, like a woman, not a girl, because that's weird, a woman, I think it'd make you straight. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it'd make you a lesbian. I'm so sorry. I just don't think it would, because lesbians are like a woman and a woman, you know?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So what about all the cisgender lesbians that are in my DMs? Are you saying that they're not lesbians?
What? No, I don't think they are. I just think that if Elgast, what does it mean? Why are you calling me him? I'm not a him. I'm a hero. But so please stop that right now.
They're probably talking about me. They like to misgender me.
No, they said him in the box, and
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry about comments. Comments are gonna be all over the place. Let me make a different argument. Do you know what asexual is?
Sorry, go on.
Do you know what it means to be asexual?
Please don't get me started on this because that's a whole other topic I can unpack with it. I think you're either straight, bi, or gay, or lesbian. Like, do you know what I mean? You either like the same gender, you like the both.
Asexual people can be straight, bi, lesbian, pan.
Just be one. Why have you got pan? Oh, what is that? That is a joke.
You're just a massive bigot.
No, I'm not. I just think that you can either be straight, gay, or bi. Why do you have to make all these confusing sexualities?
Okay. Do you know what asexual means?
Isn't it like, what's the word? Oh my god. Oh, hold on.
An asexual person is typically someone who does not experience sexual attraction.
Yeah, they just like somebody, but they don't want to be like sexual with them or something. Or is that a different one? Because there's just so many
You're
now.
pretty much right. It is typical of an asexual person to not want to be intimate with anyone.
Yeah, but I just think that doesn't have to be a sexuality, okay? You just don't want to have. I don't want to say the word because I don't want to get banned. But you just don't have to have. That's not a sexuality. You just don't want to have. What's the word? I can't say it. Obviously, I might get banned. TikTok is very harsh.
TikTok goes overboard on banning.
I don't know what I can call it.
Sorry.
I don't know what I can call the word because I don't want to get banned. But I think that that doesn't need to be a sexuality. Come on, it doesn't. I think you can just say you don't.
It is though. I mean, whether you like it or not, asexual people exist. I am asexual.
I honestly think. Guest is filled with hate. No, I'm not. I think that I just don't think. I think it's made up. I think everybody's taken an inch and run a mile. To be honest.
So you're saying that asexual people are still attracted to people sexually?
No, I just think it's stupid.
You think it's Lils, I thought you were genuine in the beginning and just had some problematic ideology. Now I just think you're straight up a bigot.
How? Because I think that.
All right. Got flagged for hate speech. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to reset, but I'm going to talk to Michaela, see if we're ready to go, see if she needs a few more minutes. So it might be a few minutes before I'm back, but when I come back, it will be battle time probably.
Have fun, Adora.
What was that?
Have fun.
Thank you. Have you done battles, Brick?
Once, and I hate them.
How do you start a battle?
There's a button on the left corner where you can point other people, but you have to not have guests in the box.
Okay, so I would have to disconnect you, and then right now I have 2 friends that I can send an invite to.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I guess that'll get us into the battle mode. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Brick.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes. Bye. Okay. Hello, Ben Rayner. How you doing?
Hi, Dora. You right?
I'm doing all right. Yes. How old are you, please?
I'm 27.
27. Fantastic. And which bathroom should I use?
Well, personally, I feel like you should use the bathroom you feel most comfortable with, but I also take into account that as an individual, you should do which causes the less harm for people. I.e., if you go into, a woman's restroom and the majority of the women do feel uncomfortable there, I feel like it's your duty to respect the decision of those women.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Yeah, why? For what reason? Like, if they're uncomfortable with me being there, for what reason should I respect that? Why should I not just open up a stall and go use it?
Well, because that implies that your right trumps theirs.
The right to what? The right to a public space?
Yeah, a public space.
I would say that we both have the right. Like, it is a public space. I have the right to be in a public space just as much as they have the right to be in a public space.
Right, I agree, but, if some women do feel uncomfortable with it, and I let me just start off by saying a lot of the stuff you say I agree with. I respect you as a person. I will call you by whatever pronouns you feel comfortable with, but I also have to respect biological women in the fact that some of them just don't feel comfortable, and I feel like it's your responsibility to as well.
So, where should I go to the bathroom then?
Well, I mean, that's a completely different different subject. You know, that's something someone else will have to figure out, unfortunately.
Someone else will have to figure out. I mean, so help me figure it out then. Let's figure it out right here, right now. If a transgender woman goes into a women's restroom and the women in there are uncomfortable with her being in there, they tell her that, and she leaves the women's restroom. Where does she go to the bathroom?
Well, it's quite hard for me to say this without coming off as insensitive, and I don't mean to be, so please don't take this like this. And I don't personally agree with it. The phrasing of the word, people say possibility, and I know that that's quite insensitive. I just can't think of another word to use. But I feel like there should be an amount of work if you're trans, to try and fit in. I you know what I mean? I don't want that to sound offensive, so please don't take it that way.
What you're saying is that a trans woman should be dressing a certain way, should probably have some level of makeup on, etc.?
No, not necessarily, because you know there's some women that don't. It's just
right.
There is you know, whether you like it or not, people will always look at someone and straight away say, you know, they're male or female. Unfortunately, that's just human nature. And I feel like if you want to just go to the toilet, you will need to put in that level of work on yourself to be able to.
What work are we talking about? Because it's not makeup and dresses and hair, right?
Right.
So what is the work then? Like that's the easy part. The easy part is the clothing that you put on. Work beyond that is not easy. So what are we talking about?
I mean, you know, there's a big difference between some trans women. You know, some who clearly have been on hormones for a very long time, and I know this is quite a broad statement, so just bear with me. And there's women who genuinely look like women you'd never know. And most biological women do have issues with.
How do you think a trans woman gets to the point where she passes completely?
Well, there's surgery, things like that.
So we need to require surgery of trans women.
No, that's not what I said. I said
I would agree
like that, not necessarily. That's the only thing. It's all to do with what your perceived gender is initially.
What my perceived so it's not the clothing we wear. You don't want to require surgeries. I can get behind that. So then what is it? What is the effort that we need to make?
Well, the way I see it as well is you could go into, I don't know, a bathroom, a female bathroom, woman's bathroom, sorry, and there could be 10 women in there and all 10 feel uncomfortable. Whereas if you were to go into a men's bathroom, would 10 men feel uncomfortable? Most likely not. The only person who'd feel uncomfortable probably is yourself. And
so my comment
well, no, it's just, you know, which causes, I go back to that statement I made in the beginning, which is which causes the least harm. Is either 10 women feel uncomfortable or
let's
person
talk about
feels uncomfortable.
Is discomfort harm or is assault harm? Is discomfort harm or is being mocked and ridiculed harm?
Well, I believe they're all harm. It's just, you know, there's different levels. You have to draw the line between, you know, verbal abuse and violence. Obviously, violence.
Let's draw the lines out of between assault, between physical assault, verbal assault, and discomfort. What's the order there? Which one's the most?
Well, obviously harm.
Physical, okay.
Yes, physical harm. Yes.
What would you put next after that?
Well, it's, you know, it's quite ridiculous, the whole ranking thing. I think all harm can be equally as detrimental to someone.
I would say that there are some types of emotional harm that are definitely worse than some types of physical harm. So I think that's fair.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, so
I
I
would
wouldn't.
discomfort does not rank amongst either emotional or physical harm.
Okay, but so you saying what kind of harm would you feel if you went into a men's bathroom?
Yeah, transgender people are more than four times. Transgender people are four times more likely to be assaulted than cisgender people. 4 times.
Okay, all right, and I agree that's a horrible statistic, but you know, it's that I think that's what in general. That doesn't necessarily mean bathrooms, which is what the question is.
Sure,
And yes, you're totally right. We need to do something about that. We need to do something about that 100%. That's completely wrong. But, you know, in terms of, you know, men really, you know, speaking as a man, men don't really care if you go in there. Although, you know, like you said, there is an increased risk in harm to you.
First of all, that's not true. There are absolutely men that would be uncomfortable with a woman in the women's restroom with them. And second of all, why should I, a woman, be required to use the men's restroom? Why does the thing how I'm affected not matter? Because I am at greater risk. Because the demographic that's most likely to cause harm is cisgender men, right? It's cisgender men that are by far and away the most likely to cause harm.
Yeah, I can probably get on by. I haven't seen any statistics, but yeah, that most likely is correct. But you know, I mean, I'm not trans, so I'll never understand the struggle you guys go through. And you know, I wish you all the best in how you deal with it. But if you know, you have to also remember as well, you guys are a very, very, very small minority of people, which doesn't mean you're not deserving of respect or things like that. No way am I saying that at all. You guys deserve all the respect, but you know, respect is for everyone, and I would feel as a trans person kind of obligated if I'm going into a woman's bathroom and everyone there feels uncomfortable and I could potentially be getting abused from these women. You know, let's not count that out either. You know, I would say, okay, this is a me problem. Either I have to work on myself, and if that doesn't work,
mistreating me a me problem and not a them problem.
No, that I completely agree. I completely agree. It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately, that's the way it is.
But that doesn't make it a me problem. It's a them problem.
Right,
when someone's transphobic and someone is treating me poorly, that's not me. That's them.
So what is the solution in your eyes?
The solution is to let trans people use the restrooms of our identities, because there is no data that shows that we pose an increased risk to cisgender people in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, and I'm not saying either. I have not seen any stats on that. I don't believe that. I mean, I personally wouldn't have an issue with anyone who goes into the men's toilets at all. I wouldn't care. You know, a cisgendered woman could go in there, and I wouldn't care. But I know people who do feel uncomfortable with it. You know, and you know they're whether I agree with it or not, they're completely in their right to feel uncomfortable about it. But I feel like it's a respect thing. Okay, and it's not right, like you said.
Why should I respect transphobia?
I mean, I don't like that word. I don't think they're scared of you.
So it's a common misconception that transphobia just means a fear of. That's not the case. It's a fear of, a rational aversion to, prejudice towards, etc. There's a number of things that can be transphobic. It's not just fear. And regardless, I would say that not wanting trans women in the women's restroom is fear. People have a fear that transgender people are going to cause them harm, and that fear is irrational.
Right. Okay. I can definitely see that. But you know, and I don't want to start spewing hatred, right-wing propaganda. that there's been incidents of trans people assaulting people, and that's just what I've heard. I've not looked into it. It's probably all bullshit, but there are bases for those. Would you agree? Would you agree there are situations? Would you believe there are situations in that trans people, whether they are cis men saying they're trans or whatever, but currently identifying trans people that have assaulted women in women's bathroom, would you say that has happened and that is potentially a risk?
It's a risk with any. There is no demographic that has only good people in it. There's about 1.6 million transgender people in the United States, and yeah, some of us are bad people. But I have not seen any data that shows that we are more likely to be bad people or that we enable bad people.
Okay. Well, does it show that you're less likely?
Why should we be less likely? Why not as likely?
Okay. Well, but still, if it's as likely, then what difference does it make what toilet you use?
I'm talking about the odds of transgender people either causing harm or increasing the likeliness of someone being harmed.
Okay. I also just I wanted to touch on another point with the bathrooms is there will be people cis men who use this to assault women, because that's a lot of men are like that. Unfortunately, it's disgusting, but yeah, it's true. And if is this an easy way? If there's no sort of bar of entry to transgenderism,
it's not.
Then
the bar of entry is basically insistence, persistence.
No, I completely agree. Sorry, I worded it wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't.
I understand where that fear comes from, but that's a thought that's not being brought to its logical conclusion. That is a thought that forgets that trans women aren't the only transgender people. The thought is that a cisgender man who wants to harm a woman can just pretend to be transgender, to be a transgender woman, and go into the women's restroom and cause harm. Well, first of all, there's no actual incentive to do that. That's not going to make committing the crime easier. It's actually just going to add a layer of complexity and increase the odds of them getting caught. Second, that little sign on the wall, that's not stopping anyone who intends to cause that level of harm from doing it. And third, it's forgetting that transgender men exist. If we require transgender men who are assigned female at birth to use the women's restroom, then a cisgender man who wants to go into the women's restroom to cause harm only has to say, I'm a transgender man. I was assigned female at birth. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I completely get that point. It also brings up the discussion is, obviously transgendered men and, men's spaces. It always seems to be the forefront of, transgender women using the women's bathroom. You never really hear it the other way around. And I'm curious as to why that is. Either it's men don't care, which I think is probably the... You think?
Yeah, definitely. Transgender men...
How is it transphobia to not care if a trans man uses the same bathroom as you?
I mean, if you don't care if a trans man uses the men's restroom, but you do care that a trans woman uses the women's restroom, yeah, that would be A, that would be logical inconsistency, and B, that would be transphobia.
Yeah, I mean, but there's not really a way you can enact that, though. As a hypothetically, this isn't, me speaking, but if I was okay with trans men using the men's bathroom as a man, I'm completely comfortable with that. And, for some reason I have, I feel uncomfortable that trans women use the women's bathroom. At the end of the day, I might be uncomfortable with that, but it's not really affecting me, and I can't really say from a woman's perspective because I'm not a woman. So although you may say it's transphobic, I mean, is it transphobic to the level where it's going to actually start affecting trans women using women's spaces?
Yeah, there are laws being passed in the United States state after state after state where they're banning us from restrooms in some form or another.
Okay, so would you argue with, trans people being able to use whatever toilet they want? Something which I think is fine. I don't care, but or do you believe in a solution going on like gender neutral bathrooms? Or
I definitely support gender neutral bathrooms, but in establishments that only have men's and women's, we should be able to use the restroom that we're comfortable with.
would you feel more? I know. I really don't want to sound insensitive, so please forgive me if I'm missing some terminology. But it would, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. But then again, I'm not trans, so I'd like to get your opinion on it. As a sort of third space, would that make you guys feel more comfortable, or?
Talk to me about this third space.
Well, no, I'm just obviously gender non-conforming is becoming a much bigger thing now, obviously, because as society is getting more accepting, then
women's restroom, gender neutral bathroom.
yeah, I think going forward there's a lot of new, like you see, I don't know about the US where I assume you're based, but in the UK there's a lot of new public buildings that do have third spaces for people who are either gender non-conforming, or for people who don't care, or for people who would.
If we're going to do unisex bathrooms, why not just take the men's restrooms and the women's restrooms, tear off the sign, and put up a sign that says urinals and a sign that says no urinals, and that would there we go. We have unisex bathrooms.
I mean that would be my solution personally, but unfortunately the world isn't like that. They don't. The sexes don't feel comfortable really mixing. Correct, but I feel like that's because there's the potential for violence from the majority of time cis men on women.
In gender neutral bathrooms.
So, well, no, obviously I don't have the stats to back that up, but I would assume that the people who would potentially use gender neutral bathrooms are people who don't care. Obviously gender non-conforming people, and maybe trans people who would feel the potential for harm using the toilet that they feel aligns with their gender. I feel like it's a very old-fashioned way of thinking is biological men use this no matter what, and biological women, I think, as a part of the newer generation, I feel like a lot of my generation cares, but we still need to accommodate these people who may not necessarily feel comfortable.
Why do I have to accommodate transphobia?
I don't think you should.
Right, we should not have to tolerate.
Yeah, I don't think you should, but it's just moving forward. How do we move forward?
How do we move forward? We tell transphobes to fuck off.
Yeah, but what does that achieve?
Letting them know that we're not backing down, that we are going to do what is right, and we're not going to exclude people who are causing no harm.
Okay, but are you just propelling their transphobia?
These people are already transphobic. They're already causing harm. I'm not going to let them dictate what I do or don't do if I'm not causing harm.
Okay. Yeah, but what does you being rightfully so, in my opinion, rightfully hostile, or maybe not hostile, defensive, rightfully so. Yeah, and as you should, as is your right. But what does it achieve in terms of propelling transphobia? All that person is going to think now is these trans people are openly hostile against me while they're using what they deem as their space. What does this achieve? It strikes me as being very detrimental to what you guys as a whole are trying to achieve.
Can you tell me about any kind of human rights movement that was won by coddling the oppressor, by appeasing the oppressor?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Right. That's not how you win human rights. You win human rights by saying, fuck you.
Right. Okay. But what examples of that?
All human rights movements. We're as annoying as possible, in your face as possible, as obstructive as possible. We're saying we are not taking anything less than what we deserve.
Yeah, agreed. And that has changed a lot of policies, rightfully so.
And the opposite has not changed any.
Right, agreed. But obviously I can't speak for America because I'm not American, but you know, what can't you do in America as a trans person? That is, you know,
we're losing the rights to gender affirming care. We're losing the rights to public spaces. We're losing the rights to participate in sports. In some places, we don't have housing protections or employment protections. We can literally be fired for being transgender. There are places that are actually making it against the rules for teachers to use a student's pronouns, like literally.
Right, and you know, I don't agree with that at all. But obviously, like I said, you're fighting the American fight, which is, you know, something I'm not familiar with. I haven't looked into it. But in the UK, it's not great, but it does seem a little bit more accepting here than in the US.
The UK has got significant problems with transphobia.
Oh no, I agree. I agree. Nothing's perfect. It's not perfect, but you know, I've watched your lives for quite a long time, and you know, it seems like the UK's problems aren't great, but then they're not systemic like a lot of them are in the US.
When it comes, I can only speak for transphobia. I'm not familiar with anything else, but yeah, there's definitely systemic transphobia.
Right. Okay. Well, what would be a pragmatic solution moving forward then, not just for the bathrooms, but for the transgender movement as a whole?
To leave us be, to make sure to stop taking rights from us. We're not asking for more than anyone else. We want as much as everyone else. I want access to the same public spaces as everyone else. I want to be able to participate in the same in the same activities as everyone else. I want access to the healthcare that I need. That's it. That's what we're asking for. I want to be just unharassed.
I just wonder if you can educate me a little bit. You said that you can be fired for being trans.
Yeah, they're rarely going to just say that. Oh, you're transgender. You're fired. But there are areas where you're not protected for that.
So, you know, unfortunately, that happens. You know, for a variety of things. You know, you can, but there isn't a law specifically saying they can fire you because they're trans.
Sorry,
is that right? Is there a law in the US?
There are workarounds for the current laws that we have that allow for transgender people to be fired for being trans.
Okay, but surely that comes down to, you know, individuals. You know, like I feel like, you know, in the UK you can't discriminate based on, you know, sexual orientation, gender, race, anything like that. But if you have a boss who doesn't like women, you know, they can fire them for something else, but they're still a woman. That's still a problem, you know. Yeah. And you know, we need to do something about those sort of abuses of power as a whole. And if trans people, you know, get fired and they say, "Oh, it's because I'm trans," and that's completely what's in their head. I was fired because I'm trans, maybe necessarily when it isn't. You know, I feel like that could just be propelling the problem. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm not going down that line.
Why not?
I just don't have an argument prepared there, or any kind of data to back that.
Okay. Well, okay. That's all I wanted to say. Let me just say I completely support you. I think you're great. I watch you all the time. Keep fighting the good fight.
All right. You have a good one.
Respect. You too. Take care. Bye.
Okay, guys, we got 35 more minutes. Everyone keep tapping that screen, share the live. I'm going to bring up the next guest right now.
Hi, I'm gonna be
What's up?
age, right? 23, born in 2000.
Yep, fantastic. Which bathroom do I belong in?
Whatever you're most comfortable in.
All right,
Sorry,
got it.
I know I'm boring.
That's
But
fine.
even if you were pre-op, at whatever bathroom you're comfortable in.
All right, awesome. Love to hear it.
All right, have a good day.
Bye. I know we're only at 670 viewers, guys, but I'm going to go sub only for the remainder of the live. If you want to talk, you can either head on over to my Twitch or you can find a request. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
Doing all right. How old are you, please?
I am 34.
34. Fantastic. Which bathroom do I belong in?
Well, can I just state my concern a little bit about trans people using the women's washroom?
Sure, go for it. Thank you for the like pop.
Okay, so one of my concerns would be bringing my child into the washroom and let's say she's a little bit confused because they don't look as feminine as other women, and having her say something to them and then having this hostility directed towards us because of it. So that's a huge concern of mine because this is such a huge issue I find going on right now.
Okay. So let's say we have a cisgender woman, but she's on the more masculine side. She presents masculine. Maybe she even has some facial hair. I don't know. Whatever. We have a masculine-looking cisgender woman. Would you not have the same conversation then?
Well, I feel like because of how emotional this topic is and how close it would be for trans people, maybe, I don't know, a cisgender woman would be more understanding of that, if that makes sense. I don't know, of course. But this kind of brings me into, I just found you like a couple days ago. I've been binge watching some of your streams on YouTube. And in terms of what bathroom you should use, I feel like you should not be using the women's washroom because of your behavior that I've seen towards other
That's
people.
my behavior. Thank you, Sarah, for this. Appreciate you.
Yes.
All right. So what behavior have
And
I exhibited?
specifically, Adora, respectfully, as well as like the people that are on your panel during the debates, I've seen them call Canadians stupid, overtalk them, and then you kind of just sit there and you engage in it or you allow it, and it just concerns me a little bit.
My friends behind the scenes about the Canadian stuff. I don't like that either.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, why don't you say something though?
I typically do. I miss sometimes. Yeah. But again, I was upset with my friends for the Canadian comments, and I had a conversation with them about it.
The other thing though too is like I totally accept all trans people and I don't dislike you because you're trans. As woman to woman, I don't like your behavior.
So, right, what behavior makes it so that I don't belong in a women's restroom?
Pardon me?
What behavior that I exhibit makes it so that I don't belong in a women's restroom?
I mean, your like your hostility towards other people.
Most
I would
trans
feel
women.
like I would feel like if my daughter said something to you that you would get upset
On what grounds?
because of your behavior and your hostility that's been documented in your streams.
Couldn't tell you.
And
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but
Okay,
I would
so
hope that
what
maybe-
behavior have I exhibited towards kids that makes you think that I would lash out at a kid?
it doesn't have to be kids. It could be anybody. You've shown that you're not going to. I can't
If
see how
someone's
you
going to be
interact with children.
transphobic to
on
me,
here.
I'm going to stand my. I am going to defend myself. Thank you,
Of
Jenna.
course, but I'm just I don't know. I wouldn't know what you would do, right, in that situation. And you know what? Just not even just you, right?
So
Like,
I
this
should
is-
kiss a transphobe's ass.
Pardon me?
So I should kiss a transphobe's ass. If a transphobe tells me to get out of the women's restroom, I should kiss their ass.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay, so then help me out here. What are you saying?
I'm saying that if you would like to use the washroom, I feel like you should use a gender neutral washroom. That's just my opinion.
That's not always an option, and even if it was,
Well, then you should take that up with the private business that is not accommodating that.
in the meantime, I gotta pee. They're gonna build this restroom while I gotta pee.
Well, go to whichever toilet's available. But what I'm saying
women's
is,
restrooms available.
what I'm saying is, if you would like to use women's spaces, I would think about your hostility towards other people and how that might be perceived. You are a woman. You identify.
Would you like to know how many times I've had a conversation with someone in a women's restroom?
Pardon me? Sorry.
Yeah. Would you like to know how many times I've had a conversation with a stranger in a women's restroom?
Sure.
0.
Yeah. What if it happens though? How would you approach it if someone's child came up to you and said something like, they'll say stupid comments sometimes, right? And the mother becomes like upset. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
If a child says something to me, I'll just answer their question. Like if a child says, "Are you a man?" I'll say, "No, I'm a woman."
Yeah.
If a child says, "Why do I look like this?" I'll say, "Because I like to look this way."
Okay. Yeah. You know what? It's totally fine. I think I'm just a little anxious about it, and just the way that I saw like your panel attacking people really made me upset. Because people are trying to come on here and talk to you and like get to know you, right? And I find that sometimes they attack people and you just sit there.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with my friends being angry at transphobes. As a matter of fact,
But anyone who comes up here, it seems like they say one little wrong thing, maybe they don't have a good understanding, and it's like everyone piles on them. I don't know, it's your platform. You can do what you wish with it.
Nicole, you've already said that you're new here. I've been doing this for a while. I can tell when someone is being genuine when they're not. And when someone is being disingenuous, I'm not going to give them the time of day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for letting me come up. I'd like an opportunity to continue to watch your lives, and maybe I just saw the wrong clips. Maybe I just saw the wrong things.
Okay. So I think what's happening here is that you're getting upset with the wrong people for the wrong reasons. You're hearing transphobia, seeing us get angry at the transphobia, and getting angry at us rather than the transphobe.
Mm.
You're defending the wrong people.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, I agree. Like, sorry, I just wanted to express how I felt. I was just kind of upset seeing all of that go on. And yeah, but.
Okay, so I definitely want you to continue to watch, Nicole, and maybe we'll have a conversation again. But when you see that I'm getting angry or my panel is getting angry, ask yourself why. What did the guest say? Is the guest invalidating trans people? Is the guest saying that trans people shouldn't be in certain spaces? Is the guest defending trans people losing rights? Is the guest anti-trans kid? Ask yourself why. Because when guests say that, hey, transgender kids shouldn't get gender-affirming care, that has a direct impact on us. Transgender kids exist. Transgender kids need access to gender-affirming care. And when someone says, oh, no, your kid needs to suffer until they're 18, that's going to make us angry. When people say that trans people shouldn't have access to public spaces like everyone else, that's going to make us angry.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you take care and get some good people in your life. But yeah, thanks for having me up.
All right, you have a good one, Nicole.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Just a reminder, the E that I hold subscribers to a higher standard. You haven't broken any rule, but certainly spreading rumors is the kind of thing that can get you banned. So don't spread rumors.
Hello?
Hello, you were up here earlier, right? Thank you for the lemonade.
No, I just joined just now.
Okay, fantastic. How old are you, please?
33.
33, all right. And what are your thoughts on the topic? Which restroom do I belong in? One more sub, guys, and we hit the goal.
So I want to start off by just saying that, I'm an uncle, and I have little nieces and nephews. And so, since your prompt has to do with like restroom, and which restroom you in particular should use, or people who identify as trans, I would feel some type of way to see someone like you, as big as you are, stepping into the restroom just before my nieces went into the restroom. Say, like you said, whether this was at a public place, say at the mall or wherever, and to see someone like you, as big as you, or other people not as big as you who look, like they're dudes, go to the restroom while my nieces are in there because of the things that we see on the
Okay,
news.
let's. I'm going to flip the script on you here. Let's say
Okay.
that one of your kids is a transgender girl. Do you want your transgender girl to use the women's restroom or the men's restroom?
I don't have transgender kids.
Sure, but in this hypothetical, let's say you've got a 13-year-old transgender girl. Which restroom do you want her using?
If I have a transgender girl, I don't know how to answer this one because I don't have that in our family.
But
That's
you
not
you
a
gave
thing.
me a hypothetical. Can't we?
Oh, yeah, I gave you a hypothetical because stuff like this does happen where minors are molested. This stuff has
We can't use that
happened.
word on TikTok.
Oh, that experience these kind of attacks. You know, whether they're men who are like, as you call them, cis men, or transgender women, it happens, and that's my concern. So for that reason alone, I would say, no, you shouldn't use the women's restroom. You should use
Okay.
the men's restroom.
I'm going to use my friend's favorite argument. If someone dresses up as you, Mora, and commits a crime, are you responsible for that crime?
If someone dresses up as me,
And yeah, and then they commit a crime.
no.
Right. So someone pretending to be you doesn't make you responsible for that crime. So people pretending to be trans or whatever, why should we be held accountable for what they do?
We don't know if that's always the case, Adora. You should know that. You should keep that in
I don't know
mind.
what's
That
always the case.
No, I'm saying that that's not always the case. That people are pretending to be you. Those people who we do see reported on the news do come out as identified as men who identify as trans, right? That's what it comes down to. Excuse me. So you to put like that hypothetical scenario of someone pretending to be trans doesn't really make a strong point because people like these days are what we see is who people project with who they present to be. So if you're saying to me that the people who identify as trans, women in this case, going into the women's restroom are people who are just pretending, then that defeats the purpose of this whole argument.
Okay. So which restroom should I use?
I would say because of the previous feedback that you have gotten from people who join your panel, I would say you should use the restroom that, for one, that's gender neutral. And if they don't have a
Not all
gender
places
neutral,
have a gender neutral bathroom. We're talking specifically about a place that has men's restrooms and women's
and
restrooms.
if they don't have a gender neutral bathroom, then you should use the men's restroom.
Okay, so what about a 13-year-old transgender girl? Should she use the men's restroom?
No, she should use the women's restroom.
Okay, so a 13-year-old transgender girl's women's restroom. But
No,
the
wait,
moment
I'm sorry.
a
Oh, wait, I
teen-
thought you were saying transgender man. Sorry. I thought I heard. No, so and that's the case. If it's a transgender, you said woman or transgender man.
transgender girl, 13 years old.
Okay,
Guys, we have to-
he should also use the men's restroom.
She should use the men's restroom?
I said he.
No. Yeah, we're talking about a transgender girl, 13 years old.
Oh yeah, and I'm calling the transgender girl the he.
Right, I know, you're deliberately misgendering. It might be a hypothetical situation, but you're still deliberately misgendering.
Yeah, so because that transgender girl was born a boy, right?
Nope.
He's an adult human female. I mean, I'm sorry, he's an adult male. You got me all confused now. You got me all
No,
my
we're
words
talking about a
mixed up.
13-year-old, not adult.
Okay. So that teenager is a male. Was born male.
Assigned male at birth, sure, we'll say that.
I disagree with you saying assigned a male at birth
Fine,
because
they're male. We'll
no.
just go there. Let's
Okay.
not argue the rest. Let's stick to the hypothetical. This child is male.
Uh-huh.
They are 13 years old and they identify as a girl.
They should go to the men's restroom.
Okay, so you are advocating for a young girl to use the men's restroom with full-grown adults.
No, because
While also being
technically
concerned about your kids.
they're not girls. Technically they're not girls, and you know what I mean exactly by that.
Yeah, you're just invalidating trans people now.
No, that's not invalidating.
You're being logically inconsistent and you're invalidating trans people. I love when you guys say no, trans identities aren't valid, but I'm not invalidating. It's the height of logical inconsistency.
I didn't say that. I actually disagree with what you just said. I actually don't agree with this whole ideology that you put out here, like on this app. That doesn't make me a bigot. That doesn't make me phobic.
You are a
no,
trans.
it does not.
I want to
It
be
does
absolutely
not.
clear. You're a trans.
As soon as someone disagrees with you, you're quick to call people these names, and that's
You're
wrong.
invalidating trans
That's
identities.
wrong.
That is
That's
textbook
wrong.
transphobia.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Mel is another person who does the same thing. That's all she does is go online and say, "Hey, I'm a mother of a trans kid." That's all she does. That's her whole life. That's her whole repertoire.
I'm sorry, Mel is defending her child and advocating for her child. What an awful thing for a person to do.
She groomed her child.
Nope.
You guys say that because that's what you guys want to put out there.
What does grooming mean?
She made her children be who they are, who they identify as to who they are today. That's what it means to groom. She uses the
Explain to me how that
excuses. She
happens.
uses the excuses and says, "Oh, Republicans, conservatives, it's because of those people that I had to move out of state." She blames others for her decisions, and that's wrong.
No, Mel did not do fucking shit. Mel did not make her child transgender. Mel only had a rudimentary
She
understanding
affirmed it, right?
of what
As you, call,
transgender meant
as you
at
like
the
to
time.
call it, she affirmed it, right? She affirmed the child's.
Hey.
Oh, here she is.
Yeah, what do you mean I blamed Republicans for
No,
leaving
yeah,
Texas?
I
That's
heard
literally
you.
why I left. Yeah,
That's what I said. I heard
that's
you in
a
previous
fact.
lives state that.
Yeah, when they took away gender affirming care from my kid, I absolutely had to leave the state to protect her.
To protect her?
Yeah. She lost her health care. She lost her ability to speak to a therapist when she was struggling.
Okay, let's get this straight. First and foremost,
Mel, you have a bad echo.
Do I? Fuck. Hold on. Let me I'll re-request just a sec.
Yeah.
Adora, can I talk now?
Sorry?
Can I say something, or do I wait for
Go
Mel
for
to
it.
get back?
Say something yet. Okay.
Is it better?
Is it better? No, it's worse.
What the hell? All right, let me.
Try the thing where you go back on the phone screen, come back in.
All right.
Is it better? No. Are you on Bluetooth?
No, I'm just holding my phone.
It's worse.
Oh my god. All right, let me restart my phone. Hold on.
Okay, Mel will be back in a second. All right, let's continue our conversation. Where were we, Maura?
I forgot. Oh, basically what I wanted to just, I guess, to say is that, like, yeah, so people who men, okay, not men, well, let me see, I'm trying to think of a way. So okay, I just want to start off, so, when you were born, what did your parents have? They had a son, right? They had a son.
No.
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
They had a daughter, they just didn't know.
It doesn't work that way.
It literally does.
No, it does not. My parents, when they had me, they had a son. When my sister was born, they had a daughter.
Son because you are a man.
I could say the same thing to you, but then you're gonna classify it as you're gonna classify it as being a bigot, as being phobic when it's not.
Yeah,
the case.
you're invalidating trans identities. That is textbook transphobia. You're not getting off.
But I'm not afraid of like the whole ideology. I disagree with what you're doing. With what people
you are though. You're afraid of transgender people in the restrooms of our identities. You are.
One reason
you came in here with fear, Maura.
No,
you came in here with fear.
No, because of the things that I come across on the news.
Right. You led with fear.
Identified
you
as
are
trans
afraid.
women going into the restrooms. That's what I wish you would address. That's what the things you should be discussing on your
No, that
live.
cisgender people pretending to be trans is a cisgender problem, not a transgender problem. Thank you so much for the sub.
Why do you identify them as people pretending to be trans women? When these cases happens, why are you saying that?
Yeah, I'm not denying that there are some transgender people who do
Yeah,
that.
those are the ones that I'm talking about. Those are the ones that I
Okay,
wish
great.
you
So
would address.
let's follow that line of logic,
Okay.
and we should ban cisgender men from the public.
We should ban cisgender men from the public?
Yes.
Okay, how about this? No man, whatever they identify as cis or trans women, should be allowed in the women's restroom.
Hello?
Hello, Sav. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. I don't think I've seen you around. How you doing? Or how old are you, please?
I'm 26.
Fantastic. You had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, so I'm just going a little bit crazy, especially when, accusing Mel of grooming her child is sort of a fucked up claim, especially when you don't know her from a goddamn hole in the wall. You only see her on TikTok. How would you feel if somebody sat there and accused you of grooming your future child?
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you.
I said what I said because that's what I see on TikTok.
Again, you can't accuse someone of grooming their child when that's one, so false. Two, you don't even know her.
Well, how do you know that since you don't even know her yourself?
By diluting what it means to groom, you're actually causing harm, because then people will be less likely to be able to recognize actual grooming.
You say that, but you understand what exactly I meant when I said that. Sav, I can ask you the same question too. You don't even know Mel, so why are you speaking about it? Why are you coming to her
about
defense?
it because you're making a very harmful claim. I'm not the one making a harmful claim.
But then you projected that same question onto me, asking me, what if I have children and I decide, and then I become a groomer?
I said, what if somebody accused you of that?
So define grooming for me, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, grooming means to, you could say mold, help, support something change from what its natural state is to something different. That's how I would put the word.
That's I would say that's maybe not perfect, but close.
Yeah.
Do you think that a person's gender identity can be influenced?
A person's identity can be influenced?
Person's gender identity, can it be influenced by outside forces?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You
I would
just
say
know.
no. I would say no because
Right, they just know.
no,
So
no.
You can't be influenced to be transgender.
You can't be influenced to be transgendered.
Because your gender identity cannot be influenced. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any transgender people, because the world is built around cisgender people.
Technically, we're all cisgendered people,
No.
Yes.
Transgender people aren't cisgender.
No. Yeah, we are. We were born adult human males, adult human females. That's what we identify. I'm speaking of as adults. I'm speaking as adults, as people of adults, not children. Because then even then, and then that whole thing with you said, you saying that children, or we're assigned birth. We're not assigned at birth. The doctors observes our genitalia.
Sure, we can
and
use the
note
word
down.
observe instead of assign.
Yeah. You said what?
We can use the word observe rather than assign. That might be a better word.
That's how we know what
it doesn't make it any less true that all they're doing is looking at genitalia, which is just one sex characteristic, and they're not always right.
And they're not always right.
Right, they're not always right about the other sex characteristic. They don't do a test for chromosomes, so they don't necessarily know the chromosomes of the child. They definitely don't do neurological tests. They don't test hormones. All they do is look at the genitalia. There's other sex characteristics besides genitalia.
Okay, but let's go back to the post because I feel like we're getting off topic now. So my thing is, you asked me which restroom you should use. I said you should use the men's restroom because of those reasons. I have nieces and nephews that are young.
But you don't hold that same standard consistently, because Your concern was for young girls going into the women's restroom and seeing a masculine person, but you don't hold that same concern for a transgender girl going into the men's restroom.
A transgender girl going into the restroom. But why do you have to use them as a pivot? Like, why do you have to use that as a counter argument? Why don't you just use
Test
a
your logical
regular
consistency.
assists?
It's to test your logical consistency. You're not actually concerned about kids.
Don't say that, because I didn't say that.
No, you did. Through your logical inconsistency, you did. Because you don't care about the well-being of the 13-year-old girl who's required to use the men's restroom, but you do care about your kids, your cisgender kids, maybe seeing a masculine-looking person in the women's restroom.
Yeah, but Adora, you have to understand that mothers, sisters, right, who have children, who are surrounded by children, or even uncles, anyone in the family hierarchy, they're all gonna express similar concerns, and that's what you have to understand. We're not saying you in particular are a threat, but because of what we are aware of, what we have seen on the news and on the internet, that it does cause, fear, that does cause concern. And so that's what I'm saying, that
You're off app. I can't hear you.
if you were to address those particular incidents, then I think people could open up and come around to this idea of allowing certain people who identify, as you said, as trans, into these public spaces without any problems.
Laura, I have a question for you. Sorry, Adora, I know you're just going to talk.
No problem.
Earlier, you had mentioned unisex bathrooms or
Yeah, gender neutral, yeah.
gender neutral. Wouldn't, if you hypothetically care, hypothetically you're saying you care about kids, wouldn't a bathroom where anybody can go in be more dangerous? Because now you have cis men going in there as well.
But normally these gender neutral bathrooms, from what I've seen here in such a big city, they're usually made for like one person.
So are you
like they're not, there's not stalls in these gender neutral restrooms. Unlike the women's restroom or the men's restroom where there's multiple stalls. So that's the problem there.
I didn't hear your point. Sorry, would you mind repeating?
Sav, did you hear what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said. I have a hard time understanding people that say that Adora should use a gender neutral bathroom or the men's bathroom, saying that, why opt for a bathroom that's meant for everyone if you're so concerned about, quote unquote, people that look like Adora?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like, why does it suddenly become okay for there to be multiple genders in a single bathroom when we're talking about gender neutral bathrooms? Why is it suddenly okay for your kids to see a masculine person or a man in a restroom if it's a gender neutral bathroom, but it's not okay?
There isn't. That's what I just told Sav, that there isn't multiple stalls in a gender neutral restroom. It's
Some of them are
for one.
Some of them there are.
Well, the ones that I've seen are not. That's why I'm going based on that argument, based on what I've seen. You go to the mall.
Right, so you're not going to see people in the stall, like in the actual where the actual toilet is. It's going to be isolated. But the general wash area where you're washing your hands and drying your hands, that's public space, even in a gender neutral stall, even in a gender neutral bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my argument about that. That the gender neutral restroom, if there is one, since you said, because sometimes there isn't, you should use that one. And
Maura, I absolutely 100% support gender neutral bathrooms, but not all places have them. Some places only have a men's and a women's, and transgender people go to those spaces too, and we have to go to the bathroom sometimes when we're in those spaces.
Okay, Adora, going back to the question, so what can you do, since you're up here advocating for rights and equality? What can you do to help lessen this turbulence, this friction between you, the community, and people who are on the opposite end? If you know that there are if you know that there's problems with transgender women, or as men that identify as women, using the women's restroom, what can be done? What would you advise? What would you say? Because you haven't given a
continue to
solution to that.
educate.
Continue to educate. But what about penalizing those people who have done wrong?
Yeah, I believe that a person who
Am I still echoing?
I'm not hearing an echo, Mel.
Okay.
I believe that a person who does something awful in a bathroom or anywhere deserves to face consequences for that. I don't think that transgender people who assault people in the bathroom should be off the hook.
I missed a bunch of this, but it's not new. It's not new for transgender people to use the bathroom.
We've been doing it as long as public restrooms have existed.
The difference here is that it wasn't as visible.
Yeah,
You don't like it now that you
because
see us.
What?
You don't like it now that you're aware of us.
No,
When
I
you're
didn't
not
say
aware
that.
of us, you don't care.
Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
That's
I'll
what you
say
said.
something that I want to say.
That's literally what you just said.
I said there wasn't enough. There wasn't visibility about this because, for one, back then, as you guys referred to, that it's been going on, we didn't have the internet, and the internet wasn't as popular as it is today.
We're literally talking about like 2 years ago. Like, trans people before these bathroom bans were just using the bathrooms that aligned with their identity.
But and what had happened as a result of that?
Nothing.
So people were not complaining. People were not having fits and problems with what's the
Not until it became in the spotlight. 2016 stuff was happening too, but it calmed down, and then nothing happened until people start talking about it. Oh my God, there's trans women in the women's bathroom. Nobody cared. Nobody even noticed.
And why is it that people care today?
Again, because Republicans started talking about it and then started banning them from the bathrooms.
So you're blaming a
So
group
it became
for
a
this.
talking point.
But is there a reason why, as you said, the Republicans started talking about it? Was there things in particular that happened?
No.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Okay, so they just randomly, as soon as they found out, they just said,
same reason why they started taking away gender affirming care for kids specifically. Gender affirming care was already in place, was already good for kids, but already had a medical consensus. And then Republicans decided, let's attack trans kids. Let's make something a big deal that wasn't a big deal.
I just wanted to put something out there that there are Republicans who are okay with trans identified people. Just so put that out there.
But
not all Republicans
they contradict that by voting against our rights.
Yeah, and we're also talking about the politicians.
Okay. See, now that's separate from groups of people who are not in those political establishments, So, but my thing, like, going back to the whole question with Adora, I said, yeah, if she asked, or Adora asked me what restroom they should use, and I said the men's restroom, and I gave my reasons why. And
Yeah, she's not a man, so you have stupid reasons.
She identified.
Period. And then, like a while ago, before I got a phone call and couldn't come back real quick. You're invalidating my kid as well, right? My daughter who uses the women's restroom and the girls' restroom as well. Like, she would be completely unsafe in the men's restroom. That would be ridiculous to require.
Then why would you allow your, as you call her, your daughter, to put herself in that situation to begin with?
We don't put ourselves in this situation. This is victim blaming.
Wait, what's victim blaming?
I couldn't prevent my daughter from being trans. She just is.
So one day she woke up and said, "Mom, I'm trans."
She just finally decided to say something, but she developed that way.
Oh no, this is really.
Yeah, because you're just refusing to understand. You're refusing to learn. Hi, Ava.
Oh, hey, Maura. Can you tell me what transgender even means?
It's someone from the male sex or the female sex who identify as man or woman. And as Adora has said, it's someone who also doesn't, their sex doesn't align with their gender. That's what I've heard Adora say 100 times.
So your sex doesn't align with your gender?
Right. Gender identity, as Adora puts it, gender identity.
Okay, so do you think a more accurate definition would be a trans person is just someone who identifies with a gender that's distinct from the one they were assigned at birth? Or that's distinct from their assigned sex at birth?
Yeah.
Sure. Do you
That's
think
another way to put it.
transgender people are choosing to be transgender?
They're not choosing to be transgender.
Okay.
They are putting it out there that that's who they are. Because I personally have transgender friends. I know people who are transgender, but they're not as vocal or as out in your face.
Why
as
are you
how-
tokenizing?
How is that tokenizing? It's just to prove a point. That
Yeah, that's what
That's literally what tokenizing is.
there's people who live their life under the radar and they have no problem. They're not in this over here with everyone else, like us over here having this discussion. And that's what I feel like there would be less of what's going on. There would be less hate. There would be less problems.
It would be less hate if transgender people would just be quiet and stay in the closet.
No, I didn't say that.
That's what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that.
Then what do you want them to do?
You guys
You don't
have-
want trans people to speak up. You don't want me to speak about my daughter using the restroom that aligns with her identity because somehow that's a problem because I'm allowing her to be herself, right? You don't want anybody to talk about it. What do you want?
Everyone should just stop, just stop with the whatever what they say, what she said, what I said, and just let it be,
What do you mean by that?
Oh, thanks for the coins.
Let what be?
Okay, if we're being, what's the word? Trying to think right now. Realistic. Do you guys see this getting any better?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, once we shut the right wingers up, probably.
Yeah, we're trying.
Thank you for the ice cream.
But I honestly
That
don't
was
feel
the
like
thing. Like
I
you
feel
said
like honestly-
earlier, hold
yeah.
on, this is what I wanted to address earlier when my phone had issues.
Okay, let's see.
You were like, oh, Mel said that she had to move from Texas because of Republicans. Yeah, that's actual truth. Like that is factual information. And that is absolutely why. So no, we cannot be quiet. There's children still stuck in these states without gender affirming care, without the ability to be themselves. There's still children who parents are not affirming them, not supporting them, and these children are suffering. So we're not going to be quiet.
Okay, and by being vocal, has that made any change? No?
Yeah.
Has that made any change? Have you been vocal on TikTok? Has that made any change?
Yeah,
to
it's
better
made
the
change
community?
individually.
I literally had someone just today that I had spoken with yesterday, and she's like, "Hey, I thought about what you said overnight, and I understand now. I learned." Thank you for the cowboy hat.
Well, maybe I
All the
need.
time.
Well, maybe I just need some time to reflect on what you shared today. But as of now, I would say, I advise you or tell you use the men's restroom.
Not for
That's all.
nothing, but there have been literally all throughout history. What things gotten fixed because why? People have spoken up about issues.
Yeah, not because people sat around and did nothing.
Well, look what's happening now with the protests. Do you think that's getting any better? I don't really see that improving.
I'm sorry. Should we be quiet?
What do you think we should
No.
do? Wait.
I'm saying from what we see on the news, is it helping at the moment? Do you see the change that you want to see? Is it happening? No, it's not. Right? It takes time.
What would you have these protesters do differently?
What are you doing?
Literally.
Well, like I said, for those people that are doing this, I don't know. I really don't know about what alternatives they could take to improve the situation. But it's not working because, as you see, those people are getting arrested. They're getting, I feel like it's only creating a bigger gap in the division that there is.
No, if we don't fight back,
What's the solution then?
Literally. What would you have these protesters do that they're not doing?
They need to protest. They need to vote. I think that's what matters. Voting.
You think
right?
that the
As you said,
protesters
locally is one way to start to make change. Right? So
Sure,
that's
I
what
would
we all
agree.
want.
What does that have to do with protesting?
Well, the protesting, I don't see it really making a big impact because The war is still going on, as we know of it.
And if they weren't protesting, what would the war be doing?
It would still be the same. Nonetheless, it's still happening.
So,
yeah,
being silent wouldn't be doing anything.
No, I didn't say.
But
be
by
silent.
protesting, we're putting pressure on the politicians. And we're letting them know that we're not going to fucking sit back and tolerate this war.
And these are the same politicians, right, that you guys are putting pressure on. And who are they? There's a mixture of Republicans and Democrats, right? And our current president, what is he doing to help lessen this and help appease your
Our
guys'
current president is complicit in genocide.
So does that mean you don't support the president?
Absolutely, I do not support Joe Biden. No.
Never supported any president.
But you guys are. I noticed that you guys are. So would you guys say that you guys side with the current, what's it called, the current administration, because you guys feel like they have their values align with yours?
I mean, if we're talking about genocide, no, my values do not align with theirs.
But I just don't think it's fair and accurate for like you guys to put the finger at the other side, right at the opposite end, and say that
Literally,
they're problematic.
Wait, why do you think we're even talking about this stuff? Like what? Like
yeah, really.
Trans talk, like trans
But
debate,
yeah,
like
yeah,
debating
but
like who goes to the restroom. Why do you think we're talking about this? Do you
But
think
the-
trans people are the reason why we're talking about this?
No, we're talking about this because of the politicians. That's what it is. Yeah.
Politicians from the left wing or the right wing? You think?
From both. Because there's people that identify as what's it called, conservative Democrat, and then there's people that identify like there's different lines within the spectrum.
I'm not talking about fucking liberal left wing. I'm talking about actual left wing. I'm talking about leftists, like socialists and communist, versus the right wingers. Like, who do you think started this whole like debacle?
Exactly.
But
It wasn't left wing. It wasn't the leftists.
But my point or my argument is that they didn't start this just because. They started it because of the incidents that were happening in the restroom.
No, they didn't.
That's false. That's false.
There were
So
no
we're going to dismiss
incidents.
that? Are you guys going to just dismiss that and say that that
What
wasn't the
incident
reason?
that happened in the bathroom started this?
What?
What incident that happened in the bathroom started this?
Women being essayed by men.
Okay. Would you say that before transgender women were in the spotlight, that women were being essayed?
Yes, before and
guess
now.
what?
Yeah.
Women were ignored when they talked about their essay. The Me Too movement happened and was mocked relentlessly.
Mocked by who?
People like you.
See, that's what I'm
Again,
saying.
what is your solution? You're just here complaining about a bunch of shit. What's your solution?
My solution to what? To the restroom or to the protest or what?
To the shit that you're complaining about. You want transgender people to be quiet.
I didn't say that. I
So
just
what
said,
do you
okay,
want?
let me say. So one thing I want, so as for the restroom, this thing, as you can see, it's a bit ongoing discussion and it doesn't seem like we're going to get to a medium, right? So I would stick with my grounds and say, yeah, men who identify as women should.
Oh my God,
use the men's
trans women
restroom.
are not men who identify as women.
You're already begging the question against the validity of trans women.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
That's fine.
when I say something, you guys deem it as something that it's not.
No, Maura, you literally said that trans women are men.
I said for men who identify as trans women. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Trans women are not men identifying as women. Trans women are women.
Yeah,
But
that's
then
a
I
problem.
can, but then I can rebuttal and say, were they born female?
Were they born female?
Yeah.
No, but what does that matter?
Because from what I've learned, and I'm sure you guys learned this before all these changes came into place. Male, your what's it called? Your gender, female, your sex goes hand in hand with your gender, and that's how it's always been. Look back at our parents' times. Look back at our grandparents' times. There wasn't a lot of this.
If you're cisgender, they align. If you're transgender, they don't. The majority of people are cisgender. So what? They're still transgender.
Yeah, this is actually what you would expect on like my view, right? My view is that gender is materially grounded. in sex, right? So, like, you would expect that most people would be cisgender based on this, right? But that's only an empirical prediction. It's not a normative one.
But it has some truth to it.
Wait, do you know what I mean when I say gender is materially grounded in sex?
No.
Okay, so the idea is that gender is a social kind, right? And it's going to be materially grounded in this biological kind, which is like sex, right? The fact that humans are sexually dimorphic with respect to roles in reproduction, right? So, you know, gender systems originated whenever people started recognizing these differences, and then males began to subjugate females on the basis of like their reproductive capacities, and this this set up the need for like articulated gender systems. Okay, so but to say that gender is materially grounded in sex is not to say that they're the same thing, or that one is dependent on the other, or that one is constituted by the other, right? So we can draw an analogy to parent, right? So we have this social kind parent, which is grounded in a material kind, which is materially grounded in a biological kind progenitor, right? So a progenitor is just someone who produces gametes, right? So, you know, there are people, there's this biological fact, right? There's people who produce gametes, these are progenitors, and from this, we ground this social relation called parent, right? But it doesn't follow from that all parents are progenitors, or that all progenitors are parents, right? They're two distinct things. So, so like sex and gender, they're correlated, but one doesn't cause the other, and they're not the same thing. So.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that, Ava. I just wanted to lastly end because I do have to go soon, but I just wanted to say, and I'm gonna keep it respectful because I feel like that's what I've been. I haven't been like said any bigotry words that were mean, like demeaning or distasteful. I didn't say, but I just wanted to say, what about all the people? And I don't believe that they're bigots or phobic. What about all the people who disagree and have a hard time understanding you guys? Because that's the audience that you guys are trying to open, right?
They
Loosen
have
up.
transphobia to unpack.
Right, so you need to recognize it first to unpack it. Yeah,
Right.
and seriously,
So-
talking shit about my parenting was not respectful. Absolutely not.
No, I only said that because in the times that I've came across your lives, or not even your lives, but you being on the panel with Adora, that's like the one thing you always seem to be centered around. So
Maura, I just want to be clear about this. Just because you spoke calmly and didn't yell doesn't mean that you weren't being extremely transphobic.
I don't know what to say to that because I feel like I was being respectful. I was being polite. I hadn't even used one bad word this whole time.
Calmly and don't yell and don't swear doesn't mean that you're being polite.
Just because you feel like you were, you're not, and you need to unpack that if you actually want to do better.
All right. Well, Dora, thank you for having me on your panel today. I feel like it was some stuff that I have to process. And Ava, thanks again for being gracious in your delivery, and everyone else on the panel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have no problems with anyone. I just was stating my point of view as you call it, cis man who has nieces and nephews who are minors, young, and I was just thinking of them, and based on what I witnessed on the news
But
and
you
what I
proved
hear,
that you weren't thinking of them.
you can't say I wasn't thinking of them because I just explained to you my concerns and what
You got a double standard. Maura, are you moving on or what?
Yeah, if you actually care about your nieces and nephews, that they could be trans, and you should learn about that and what that means and how you would support them and not blame someone else for making them that way like you did with me.
Okay, all right, we'll talk another time about that. All right, thank you for having me. Bye.
read Louise Anthony. Sorry.
Hey, I just want to say I love your hair so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually.
so this analogy that Dr. Anthony makes in her paper, Feminism Without Metaphysics or Deflationary Account of Gender, I think it's really good. Like the analogy, like the sex-gender distinction and the progenitor-parent distinction. I think it's a super good analogy. Like it just works really well, right? Because, you know, we have this like social understanding of the kind parent, right? But and we use that term in different ways, like depending on the context. Like for example, you know, we might say that a man who impregnates a woman and then dips and like doesn't pay any like child support or whatever, we would say that that person like isn't being like a father. You know, they're not being a father, right? But whenever like the mother wants to take him to court to get him to pay child support, like she's gonna want to insist that he is the father, right? And so like that's just one example of how we're very loose with these terms, right? We're very situational with these terms, right? So, Adora, Mel, Sav, everyone, I recommend reading Louise Antony. The paper's called Feminism Without Metaphysics or Deflationary Kind of Gender. Also check out Natalie Stolyar. She's also a really good feminist philosopher who talks about resemblance non-modalism, which is another gender ontology view that I really like.
Awesome.
Yeah, check it out.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, guys. I'm going to end now. Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Sav. I don't think I've paneled with either of you, at least on my live yet. So thank you, both of you, for being here. I know I've paneled with you on other people's lives, Ava. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just
You
have a
usually have a bunch of guests, so I don't even bother.
yeah.
Are you
And
ready?
thank you, Sav.
You're welcome. I just have a quick question. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm a new sub. Yay. I'm so excited to be here. I just want to know how to get into the Discord. I know I have to take like that whole quote unquote test.
So you don't have to take the test anymore. The test gives you the questionnaire gives you full access to the entire Discord, but there are a handful of channels that you get access to whether you pass or fail the questionnaire. I wanted to make sure that everyone who subscribes has at least some access to the Discord. But so thank you so much for the hand arts. If you are a subscriber of mine, we got a bunch of new subscribers today. Click on this button right here. There's going to be 3 tabs up here. Click on the benefits tab. And when you click on the benefits tab, there's going to be something that says Discord role. Click on Discord role. That should take you to the Discord. If that doesn't work, because TikTok is a broken piece of piece of junk, try doing that same exact process in your web browser. And if that doesn't work, DM me on Discord, Adorable Rainbow Fist on Discord.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Last thing I want to say before I go is I'm also on Twitch, Adorable Rainbow Fist on Twitch. All of these lives are streamed on Twitch as well. And if you subscribe over there, you get access to my live replays. There's some glitch with that happening right now, or some issue. I'm going to figure that out right after this live. But yeah, if you subscribe to my Twitch, $5 a month, you get access to all my live replays. Okay, that's all for now, guys. We're gonna raid Will's Backup. Will's with a Z Backup. He's an absolutely fantastic debater. He normally debates politics and stuff like that. One of the smartest people on this app, as far as I'm concerned. So everyone go on over to Will's Backup. Write Adora raid in chat. Don't spam it. Write it just once or twice. And I will see you guys tonight for the talent show. 7 p.m. talent show, guys. Bye.
Talent show. All right. Bye.
Bye.